Everyone. In this session, we are going to talk about the direct query versus the import mode. So in the previous session, we have already talked about the direct query and how to use it. Now we will learn what are the similarities and what are the differences between the direct query and import mode, and when do you use direct query and when should you use import mode. So in Power BI, you have two primary methods for connecting to data sources. The first one is the direct query and the second one is the import mode. Each mode has its own advantages and limitations, making them suitable for the different scenarios. Now, when we talk about the direct query connects directly to a data source without importing the data into the Power BI. Queries are sent to the data sources in real time whenever you interact with a visualization. Now, we will talk about what are the advantages of direct query. The first is the real time data. It has the most up to date data as it changes in the data source and reflected immediately into your reports and dashboards. The second one is the reduced data storage. So in this, data is not stored in Power BI. It reduces the need for the storage space and allows you to create or basically work with the larger data sets. The next one is the data security. Data remains within the data source, which can be beneficial for sensitive information requiring the strict security controls. Now, it also has some limitations. For example, the first one is the performance dependence. Performance is heavily reliant on the source system. Poorly optimized queries or high query loads can lead to slow report performance. The next one is limited features. Some Power BI features, such as certain types of DAX functions and complex transformations, are not fully supported in direct query mode. The next one is the query limitation. Direct query imposes a 1 million row limit per query, which might be restrictive for some kind of analysis. Now, what are some of the use cases of direct query? So let's say scenarios where data freshness is critical, such as financial dashboards or real-time monitoring. The next one is large data sets that are impractical to load into the Power BI. Then in the situations requiring strict data governance and security compliance. Now let's talk about the import mode. Import mode loads data into the Power BI in memory model. Data is periodically refreshed from the source system according to a defined schedule. What are the advantages of import mode? The first one is the performance. So queries are executed against the in-memory model, which is optimized for the fast query performance. The next one is the rich feature set. In this, we have the full support for all Power BI features, including complex text calculations, custom transformations, and advanced analytics. The next one is the offline access. Data is available even when the original data source is offline or inaccessible. There are also some of the limitations for the import mode. First is the data freshness. So data is only as current as the last refresh, which might be not be suitable for scenarios requiring the real-time data. The next one is the data size limits. Power BI Pro has a data set size limit of 1 GB per dataset, while Power BI Premium increases this limit but still requires careful management of data sizes. The next one is the storage requirements. Larger dataset requires more storage and memory resources, both local and in Power BI services. Now, what are some of the use cases? So, consider the scenarios where performance is a priority and the dataset size is manageable. The next one is analytical tasks requiring complex calculations and transformations. And also the situations where data does not change frequently or can be refreshed at scheduled intervals. Now, let's talk about some of the key differences between the direct query and the import mode. The first one is the data storage. If we talk about the direct query, data remains in the source system and Power BI sends queries to fetch the data. If we talk about the import mode, data is loaded into the Power BI's in-memory model. Now let's talk about the performance. In direct mode, it is dependent on the performance of the source system. If we talk about the import mode, it is optimized for speed with in-memory processing. If we talk about the data freshness, which is the third point, in direct query, we have the real-time data, whereas in the import mode, data is as current as the last scheduled refresh. If we talk about the feature availability, in direct query, we have limited support for some advanced features, whereas in the import mode, we have full support for all Power BI features. Now the important question, when to choose between the direct query and import mode. Now consider direct query only if you need some real-time data or your data set is too large to fit into the Power BI's memory or your data security and compliance requires data to stay into the source system. Now, consider import mode only if the performance and responsiveness are critical, or your dataset fits within the Power BI size limit, or you need the full range of Power BI's analytical and transformation features. Choosing between direct query and import mode in Power BI depends on your specific needs and constraints. Direct query is ideal for the real-time data sets and large data sets, while import mode offers better performance and a richer feature set for data sets that can be efficiently loaded into the memory. Understanding the strengths and limitations of each mode will help you make some informed decisions to better support your data analysis and reporting requirements. This was all for this session. Thank you.